Myself such time as I may consume. Americans do not trust Congress. From the highest levels of office, an elected member of this body enabled the fraudulent spending of $32 million out of the pockets of our American people and threw it down the drain to knowingly chase ghosts, all for political gain. This man occupied a position of the highest trust and authority. As chair of the House Intelligence Committee, Adam Schiff launched an all-out political campaign built on baseless distortions against a sitting U.S. president at the expense of every single citizen in this country and the honor of the House of Representatives. With access to sensitive information unavailable to most members of Congress and certainly not accessible to the American people, Schiff abused his privileges claiming to know the truth, while leaving Americans in the dark about this web of lies. Lies so severe that they altered the course of the country forever. The lie that President Donald Trump colluded with Russia to steal the 2016 presidential election, revealed to be completely false by numerous investigations, including the Durham report. The lie that the Steele dossier, a folder of falsified and since completely debunked collusions, accusations funded by the Democrat Party, had any shred of credibility. Yet Schiff read it into congressional record as fact. Lies concocted and compiled in a false memo that was used to lie to the FISA court to precipitate domestic spying on U.S. citizen Carter Page, violating American civil liberties. Not only was this egregious abuse of Schiff's privileged access to classified information, but this memo...
Today's congressional hearing turned into a dramatic showdown. Adam Schiff, once a dominant and influential figure in Washington, found himself under intense scrutiny as Representatives Paulina and Harriet Hageman took the floor. With pointed questions and sharp criticism, they challenged his record and accused him of misleading the public. For years, Schiff has operated from a position of authority, shaping narratives that critics argue have deepened divisions and carried significant consequences. But in this hearing, that narrative was forcefully contested. The confrontation was direct, highly charged, and left little room for deflection, marking a moment that many are already calling a turning point in the ongoing political debate.
Committee and every opportunity possible, threatening national security, undermining our duly elected president, and bringing dishonor upon the institution. Perhaps most unforgivable, Schiff ripped apart American families across the country with repeated false narratives. His own political good was served by permanently destroying family relationships and sowing lasting division across our land, which we live with every single day. The perpetrator of this web of deceit became mainstays on cable news, waking up every morning with one goal: to lie to the American people that there was a direct evidence of Russia collusion. Despite transcripts from Schiff's investigation showing that the Director of National Intelligence, former Obama Attorney General, and FBI Director, to name a few, went on record telling Schiff's committee that there was no direct evidence for his criminal conspiracy. Yet to this day, Schiff actively fundraises off of his exploitation of Americans as if robbing them from the truth and $32 million in taxpayer dollars was not enough. Can anyone in this chamber comprehend this list of crimes and yet somehow believe that there should not be an answer for it? This is not a partisan act. This is not a conservative versus liberal vote. This is a clear vote between right and wrong, and I urge you to do the right thing. I will end with repeating with what I started with. The American people do not trust Congress. The cyclical pattern of lies has worn down the credibility of every institution and every official in the United States government. You see it, I see it. If we run away from this opportunity to hold this man accountable, there's only one fault, and that is of ourselves. We will betray the people who trusted us and sent us here to do the right thing. We will be responsible for the end of any shred of justice in this body, and we will reject the duty that we swore an oath to protect upon taking office. I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentlewoman reserves.
Gentleman from Wyoming, Representative Hageman.
Gentlewoman's recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I take my duties as Wyoming's lone congressional representative very seriously, and my obligation to be honest and trustworthy is the foundation of my ability to carry them out. This privileged resolution isn't about politics. It is about the seriousness of being honest and forthright as a member of Congress and upholding the oath of office that we all take upon being sworn in. It is true that the gentleman from California wouldn't be the first member of Congress to exaggerate or stretch the truth, but willfully lying about serious issues our country has faced is something entirely different, and claiming that a sitting president has committed what amounts to treason is beyond simple hyperbole. Lies led to the wasting of millions of taxpayer dollars for unnecessary investigations and the deflection of our attention from the most pressing issues at hand to focus on a made-up crisis. This member's actions were designed to delegitimize the 2016 election and to hamstring the Trump administration. For all the talk about not accepting the election results in 2020, perhaps Democrats and the media, which are mostly one and the same, might want to look at their actions in 2016. To make matters worse, this representative perpetuated these lies while he was chair of the House Intel Committee and consistently implied, if not outright stated, that he had inside information. In that capacity, he lied about how the FBI and DOJ obtained and renewed a FISA warrant. The FBI and DOJ officials did not omit material information from the FISA warrant. How the DOJ used the Steele dossier, what was collected via the FISA warrant, the FBI's vetting process for the Steele dossier, that he had an alleged smoking gun showing that President Trump colluded with Russia. And if each of these claims has proven to be false. But the lies have continued. In fact, they have become compulsive, and they continue right through to this very day. The lies weaken this body, and if left unchecked, threaten the rule of law, our election integrity, and the civil rights of his targets. The words and actions of this member were dangerous and untrue, knowingly untrue. There must be a serious consequence for that.
The hearing escalated quickly as accusations against Adam Schiff took center stage. Critics argued that during his time as chair of the House Intelligence Committee, he used his position to shape narratives around classified information in ways that served a political agenda. But in this session, that record was forcefully challenged. Paulina Luna spoke first, delivering her remarks with a composed but firm tone. Addressing Schiff directly, she accused him of overstepping his authority and misleading the public during high-profile investigations. She pointed to his handling of the Steele dossier, arguing that it was presented with more certainty than its credibility justified. Luna framed her argument as a broader concern about accountability and trust in public office, emphasizing that the issue went beyond party lines. She continued by asserting that political narratives built on disputed information had contributed to division across the country. Her message centered on the idea that restoring public confidence requires transparency and responsibility from those in power. Following her, Harriet Hageman took a more methodical approach, laying out a series of criticisms regarding Schiff's actions. She referenced past disputes over surveillance processes, including the case involving Carter Page, and cited findings that identified errors and omissions in related filings. Hageman argued that such issues raised serious concerns about oversight, due process, and the integrity of congressional conduct. Her remarks emphasized that making serious allegations without sufficient evidence can have lasting consequences for institutions and public trust. She concluded that accountability measures, including censure, were necessary to uphold standards within Congress. As both lawmakers spoke, attention remained fixed on Schiff, who listened without responding in that moment. The tone in the chamber shifted from confrontation to a more reflective silence, underscoring the weight of the accusations being discussed. Both representatives closed with a shared message that maintaining integrity in government requires confronting controversial actions directly, regardless of political affiliation. They framed the moment not simply as a partisan clash, but as part of an ongoing debate over truth, responsibility, and the role of elected officials in preserving public trust.